What is up, you guys? It is MTR, and I know you're kind of like, whoa, that wasn't the intro I was planning on, but it's going to be different from here on in, and that's just the way it's going to go. So I'm here to bring you guys our monthly theme, a nice synopsis, hopefully really short, probably not knowing my luck because I just talk a lot. But we are here to bring you this month's theme. I'm kicking it off this month, and from here on in, it's going to be Tiffany, Aaron, and Tim doing their own thing when it comes to the monthly theme. And of course, Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be coming out extremely soon. So I decided to read the original Star-Lord comic by Sam Humphrey. Great comic. I read the first story arc, number 1 through 5, and I'm going to be trying to sum it up for you as quick as possible once again. Before we get into that, of course, you could always call into the podcast at 714-684-1652. I was yelled at because apparently I read it too fast. So once again, that is 714-684-1652. You could also go to rathouse.net and click on our Geek Fuel banner app, and you will get 30% off of your first box. Go ahead and check out audibletrial.com/rathouse or go to rathouse.net and click on the Audible Trial banner. They have over 180,000 books. I'm actually looking forward to getting next month's stuff, which the plan after the free trial is $15 for one book, and they have the premium that'll get you 3 books a month. And seriously, you could, if you have a 30-minute commute, you'll burn through this extremely fast. So I'm actually going to start trying to conquer some of the Star Wars books since I really don't have time to read. I'm reading comics for you guys, so it'll help me to go ahead and conquer that as fast as possible. But they have the Harry Potter books, they have all the Star Wars books, they have geeky books, they have everything for you and more. So go ahead and try audibletrial.com/rathouse, RATTHAUS. Go ahead and check out Growing Up Not Growing Old podcast, Superiority Complex podcast, that hashtag show via YouTube, Geek Speak show, Third Party Controller podcast, Bats podcast, Shangri Live. Of course, download Lyft and use our promo code RHP and get 10 rides, $5 off. That's it. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this epicness right about meow. So, right off the bat, not over exaggerating. First page, Peter Quill's mom dies. Some aliens come down, just kill him, kill her, and that's it. 8 years later, Peter Quill is having a really hard time taking on these spaceships that he's trying to fight, and come to find out he's in a computer simulator. And they say, yeah, you suck, Peter. Go ahead and go and continue being a janitor. So you actually find out that he is actually the janitor for the Astron 1, and he's kind of a part of the project, but his goal is to actually go into space and fly so he could find his mother's killer, because all he has is a picture of the spaceship. That's about it. So from there we get into, of course, the pilots and introducing them slowly but surely. And Peter Quill actually comes in and says, hey, if you guys are having so much trouble with that spaceship, and I quote, if she's stalling, then maybe push her harder. Instead of gunning the warbird until she's bleeding, pull up, escape velocity, and cut the thrusters. Just a second, and they'll free ions to faster than light drive. And boom! Warp speed, baby. And the rest of the crew gives him a dirty look, and basically the lead astronaut says, shut up, and you know nothing, you're just a stupid janitor. And of course, this astronaut has to get the last word. So that's right, grease monkey, you don't have what it takes to be an astronaut. And young Peter Quill decks him in the face. Yes! Which I might add, like, if it's like 8 years later, I mean, they don't address how old Peter is at this point, but, you know, I like to imagine he's underage, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. So, of course, Peter has to go ahead and meet Commander Chang because he's messing up in life, obviously getting in fights. And Peter states, oh, never mind what I said. What do you think about flying? Pretty slick, huh? Did I get the job or what? Because, of course, Commander finds out that he's sneaking in and trying to do simulations. She's like, no, you're a fool. You know, I was your mom's best friend, and I can't do this to you. So, you know, what would your mother think of all this? Of course, Peter Quill gets mad and destroys some stuff, walks out, he actually realized that the Astron 1 has an external bolt hatch, and he has this giant wrench that he's been carrying with him. So he's been a part of this project for quite some time, and he's looking back and figuring out that, looking at pictures of his mother and the spaceship that had the crew that killed his mother. And he's just thinking, I'm gonna get to space one way or another. Elsewhere, we meet Yondu, and he's like, you know what? I got a plan, man. And little do you know, the Astron 1 is actually a Kree ship, which Yondu knows that ship is back online. Peter gets the idea that he's gonna steal one of the warbirds, the Kree warbirds that Earth has right now. And elsewhere, Yondu's actually able to track that the warbird is online. So of course they try to go ahead and they capture it. So they're setting course to try and get it. So from here, of course, Peter Quill decides to steal the warbird. The astronauts are going and they're trying to shoot it down. Of course, they're commanded not to, because first off, Peter Quill's on it. Second off, that's the ship that they need. They've been using the technology on it to try to figure everything out. And of course, Peter does exactly what he says and finds out that he's able to go into warp speed. But immediately when it comes out, yeah, everything's dead, just like in the simulation. Gets mad, hits it at the hammer, and figures out that he's going nowhere. That concludes issue 1 of Star-Lord. Let's go ahead, let's get into issue 2. Remember, this is the year 1 of Star-Lord, and it's freaking awesome. It's year 1, chapter 2, Space Pirates of the Galaxy. You get it? Instead of like Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah, that's fine. We actually start off in a theme park where Peter Quill was riding a spaceship, was riding a ride called Space Pirates of the Galaxy. Finds out that the man that's hosting it, that's dressed up like an alien, isn't really an alien at all. It kind of sends him into a shock as a kid. So as Peter Quill stressfully tries to put the warbird back together, Yondu's ship comes and picks up the warbird by tracking it. So Yondu comes in and says, "You're about to be robbed by Yondu and the Ravengers." I might add, he looks like a pimp. Like he's got gold chains and like his, I guess, satchel thing like sags to the side, and he's got big old white like boot armor things, and he's wearing like tights, but he's wearing a fur coat, a black on white fur coat, black on the outside, white fur. So yeah, not over exaggerating. Looks like a pimp, and so do the people behind him. They look like they're all pimpalicious. I don't know if that's a word, but that's what they look like. So Peter Quill, for whatever reason, has a helmet and decides, you know what? I'm getting the hell out of here. And he actually gets the idea from seeing the guy, knowing that he is not a space pirate. We're referring to the ride that he rode. He says in his head, this Yondu, he wasn't born a pirate. He's just some guy. If he could do it, so can I. So Peter Quill slaps on a football helmet. Don't ask me how. I don't know. I guess that was like his helmet for going into space. I don't even know how he packed it on there, but apparently he packed the warbird with a football helmet. So as Yondu finally gets onto the ship, sees everything that's going on, they figure out that Peter Quill has actually escaped the ship, and Yondu tries to sneak into the little port that Peter Quill snuck out of. And while Yondu's trying to sneak off of the warbird, the rest of the crew is on the warbird. And Peter Quill, out of nowhere, decides to push the warbird back into space since he knows they're gonna be stranded. Luckily, Yondu's able to slip out of the warbird and go back to his ship where Peter Quill is. I might add, can't breathe in space, I thought. He's just kind of floating. I mean, this is just me. I think the same thing happened in the movie Alien. I don't know. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Thought your head's supposed to explode. But as Peter Quill successfully tries to walk back into Yondu's ship, Yondu is able to tackle him and threatens him. But of course, Peter Quill runs around and Yondu says, this is my ship. You think I'm not going to be able to know where you're at? So he goes into Yondu's treasure box. Like, no joke. He's got like giant gold-plated statues of Thanos holding death. Of course, Thanos would have that statue, right, of everything. He's like, you know what? If you're going to paint me holding death. I don't know why Thanos, I guess Thanos is more, if you're going to paint me holding death. Is that a better? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So he thinks he sees Peter, but of course, Peter planted. So it looks like he's standing there. And that's when Yondu gets crushed by the Thanos statue. After that, Peter's like, you know what, dude, it's all good. Chained him up. I'm just trying to figure out how to fly the ship. Of course, not realizing that they're Yondu's handcuffs. So of course Yondu knows to get out of it. Knocks Peter to the ground and actually breaks the football helmet. Realizes that Peter Quill's just a kid. He was able to not only figure out Kree technology, but figures he could be useful. So he decides to give him an ultimatum. Join me and be a pirate, or I can send you back out into space. One or the other. From there, we actually head back to Earth, where Commander Chang is worried and wants to figure out how we could find Peter. Of course, because they have the Astron 1, they figured out Peter was right. It's a ship that has Kree technology. So if he was able to go into warp speed that way, maybe we can too. They jump into the ship, and of course, they figure it out. All due to Peter Quill, I might add. Back on the ship, oh, this is great. I love this part. So there's something called beasties, and Yondu's like obsessed with them. They're essentially like the galaxy Cheetos, but they're like little caterpillars that look like they're like covered in orange cheese. And this is Yondu's comfort food, I might add. Like anytime something goes bad, he's like, just give me some of those. It'll be all right. And come to find out, Star-Lord joining these pirates is now a janitor upon Yondu's ship. We're jumping into Chapter 3, I guess, Issue 3, Chapter 3, whatever you want to call it, of Year 1 of Star-Lord. Chapter 3 is entitled Into the Great Wide Open. You know, it's funny. We still haven't got, like, why he was named Star-Lord. It's not like his mom called him that, but, like, that's what... Maybe it's because it says Star-Lord on the side of the buffer that he's using now as a janitor, and that's how he gets his nickname through it. It might be. I don't know. I could be wrong. Seems like it. Hints towards it. So we catch Quill actually just looking into space, looking at the picture of the spaceship that he needs to find. And Yondu catches him kind of daydreaming. He's like, look, dude, you don't gotta worry about that. You're a pirate. It's not all about that anymore. And he's like, but you don't understand. Like, these people killed my mom. And that's when Yondu's like, I'm really sorry, dude. He's like, if I could just get to the Astron 1, I'd be fine. So, well, why do you need that ship? He's like, dude, it has 4 warp drivers. Yondu's like, it has 4 warp drivers? Man, you were always a part of this crew. You were my best friend. We should, like, totally hang out and, you know, you don't have to worry about anything. Let's you know, if you help me, I'll help you. We'll find your spaceship that you're looking for. Fast forward to Planet Side. We actually have Yondu in a nice Mexican, I guess not. We have Yondu and Peter Quill in a standoff. An alien's got a gun to Peter Quill's head. Yondu has a gun to his head. He's like, hey, man, take it easy. Like, we're going to be fine. You don't have anything to worry about. You know, you don't need to kill me. I'm trying to help you out. That's when Peter Quill actually throws his gunman over the side. But really creatively, he goes, you know what? And pretends to almost fall off the side of the building they're on. Instead, grabs a guy, throws him off, and is like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And then... Yondu's like, you idiot! You're not making it any better, dude. He's like, at least stop the guy that's running towards you now. And Peter actually sends him off the side. Peter's like, I did good. Yondu's like, no, we needed him. So they both jump off the side of the building. Of course, Peter Quill is screaming. Of course, Peter Quill is screaming to what he thinks is his eventual death, while Yondu lands on a hovercraft really easily. Peter Quill falls face first. It's pretty funny, actually. So let's continue on. Of course, the guy that Peter threw off really isn't down. Big muscular guy. Go ahead, they try to take, he actually takes Yondu out and yells at Peter, dude, you have to catch this guy now. While the guy's jumping from hovercraft to hovercraft, Peter does grab him and they fall through a building. Of course, the guy gets away. Yondu goes to yell at Peter. Not without Peter being like, hey man, I wasn't able to catch him. But when I tackled him, I pickpocket this out of his jacket. Did I do good? Peter! You say you did better than good. I guess, I don't know why I feel. Peter! Doing a little Family Guy. So from there, Yondu actually takes on Peter as his right-hand man. He's teaching him how to pickpocket, apparently do weird things with aliens that I really don't want to get into details. Get drunk, gamble, cheat, lie, pillage. Hey man, be a pirate, essentially. And that's when Peter Quill goes, you know, and that's when Yondu says, you know, you've been so great these last months. I just want to show you that the crystal that we stole is actually holding the Badoon spaceship that you've been looking for. That's when Yondu's master plan comes out. Because look, I'm going to help you get this ship. But before we do that, the Astron 1 is kind of what we need in order to get it. Of course, Peter's like, what? This was never... No, this is what we need, man. You want the ship or not? So, of course... After a quick little debate, Peter agrees. Let's go ahead, let's get on into the next issue, which is Year 1, Chapter 4, The Bout on the Ship. So we're actually at the Astron 1, and Peter's hanging on to the outside and using that wrench that he had from his bedroom. Which once again, I don't know what Peter packed on this journey. I really don't. I mean, it's not like he says that he throws a bag into anything, but of course, Star-Lord is able to get on to the ship with no issues whatsoever and trips over a football. Go figure. Apparently they're playing football in the Astron one. And Commander Chang actually runs into Star-Lord, and she's like, holy crap, we're being taken over, and is about to shoot Peter Quill. As the rest of the aliens actually just haul ass to take on the rest of the ship. Like, no joke. Captures the crew instantly because there's so many pirates. I might add just a little note. High and dry, that's the pirate way. It's Yondu's saying. He's been saying it since back when they tried to steal the warbird. The freebird, the yardbird, the warbird. Of course, Commander Chang's like, you really gonna try to do this? And Yondu's like, yeah, man. High and dry, that's the pirate's way. And this is our ship now. You gotta worry about nothing. And nobody's gonna die if you guys just listen to me. Of course, Peter's having second thoughts, and Yondu pulls him aside and goes, hey, man, don't you remember? We got this ship, and now we're going to find your ship. Of course, Peter's starting to feel really uncomfortable. But then he runs into the guy that was making fun of him for even taking the warbird or attempting to be an astronaut in general. And they have a nice little scuffle. And while that's happening, Star-Lord has actually been wearing the oh-so-famous Star-Lord mask. He gets hit in the face, and the Star-Lord mask actually deteriorates, and they find out, yep, it's Peter Quill trying to steal their stuff. And everybody's jaw drops to the floor, other than Yondu's, because he's like, look, I don't care who knows who. I'm about to kill some people if you guys don't shut up, calm down, and let me take over this ship silently. While that's happening, of course, Yondu's trying to go to one of the pilots and be like, hey, I'm going to sock you in the gut. Like I said, you need to calm down. And now, I need my beasties. And I quote, this is Yondu and one of his little minions. I need my beasties. Boss! Enough now. But he's gone! Peter Quill's gone! And he spits out his beasties, which is funny because they're screaming, like when they get spit out of the top, and like falling to the floor. It's pretty funny. And that's when you find out that Peter Quill actually takes Commander Chang and goes, hey, we need to get out of here. And Commander Chang's like, we need to save the spaceship. And Peter says, absolutely not. We're stealing the pirate ship and getting out of here. Before they realize, and that's when Commander Chang says, no. Peter says, yes, but the Astron. I'm not a part of the Astron mission anymore. Remember, Commander Chang? You fired me. Peter, I know. I'm sorry, but we need you. The Astron is important. Lisa, which is Lisa Chang. Get real. The Astron is donezo. The mission is over. You can't take it back if... The Ravengers. Those guys are pirates. For real. They'll take anything they want from any ship across the 7 galaxies. Sounds like you're admiring them. And he finally realizes, no, but if I can make it back to their ship, since I snagged the crystal off of Yondu, I actually have the ship that I need to find. And Chang says, your mother would be disappointed. Peter says, no, I'm trying to help my mother. So, now we jump back to the crew that's being held hostage, and apparently Chang is found. And they said, so is Peter going to save us? And Chang says, no, he's going to run away. So now let's jump on into Year 1, Chapter 5, that means issue 5. From the Earth to the Star, Lord. And you get it? Star. Yeah. We got a nice little recap of course, Peter Quill. We find out that Peter Quill is on Yondu's ship. And that's when Yondu realizes that not only did Peter steal the crystal off him, but he's now putting all of his treasure into space. Everyone goes, no, but he's leaving us high and dry. That's the pirate way. Now shut up. We need to stop him. Of course, all the pirates freak out because that's essentially everybody's retirement plan, not just Yondu's. Which, I mean, like, what do you do with a giant Thanos statue? Like, how do you pawn that? Like, you just take it up with the pawn guy and you're like, no, I didn't steal this at all. Do they get in trouble for stealing that? Like, I wouldn't want Thanos on my tail. Let's just say that. So, of course, while everybody's trying to run back to Yondu's ship, they all run into the safe just to get locked into it. What a genius Peter Quill is. Janitor, my butt. This guy's a genius. Of course, everybody thinks that Peter's about to get everyone killed, but how can he when all of the crew is on Yondu's ship? And of course, Peter's like, well, then we gotta get everybody off of here. So he flies Yondu's ship into space while leaving the rest of the crew from the Astron 1 on there. And Quill actually locks himself into the cockpit of Yondu's ship. Of course, Yondu runs up to the safe and goes, hey, is everybody in there? And they're like, yeah, get us out. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go stop Quill. And as Quill is about to drive, they're like, where's Quill? And he goes, well, I'm going to go find him. And Quill apparently has set up his buffer with giant rockets. And the Star-Lord is about to take him into space. See, now he has to wear the Yondu mask, like the mask he gets. Why does he have to wear that in space? He wasn't worried about it prior to that. They never addressed if, like, the spaceship has this force field that, like, allows you to breathe and not breathe. Anyways, so as he's blasting into space, Yondu actually jumps out and has a nice little cable tethered to him and says, no, Peter, you're coming with me. And Yondu throws a punch into Star-Lord's face, a nice little headbutt, and they start duking it out in space. And right as Star-Lord kicks Yondu off of him, you find out that Yondu has the crystal. And he doesn't care, just lets go of it into space, and pulls himself back to his ship. So now, Star-Lord's in a tough spot. Does he let go of the rocket ship that's taken him to the Astron 1 to save himself so he could grab the crystal and avenge his mother's death? Or does he hold on to it so he can make sure he survives? He thinks of everything. Thinks of his mother. Thinks of how far he's gone. So he lets go of the Star-Lord. Lets go of his buffer. His only way of making it safe to the Astron 1. Lets go and grabs the crystal. But luckily, Commander Chang is there. Not only grabs on to the Star-Lord, but also grabs on to Peter Quill. As Peter looks down, he notices that the crystal is going further and further away. And the Astron 1 takes off. One of the pirates says, the Astron 1 is gone. We can't pursue it because Quill dumped our fuel. He left us high and dry. Our, fate is in the hands of the stars now. It's the, Yes, I know! It's the pirate way, you idiot! Yondu actually realizes that he made Peter Quill into a damn good pirate. The Astron 1 makes it to planet Xeris, which is actually where the Astron colony is for this particular ship. And of course, Commander Chang actually says to Peter, like, I'm sorry you had to let go of the crystal. And he says, it's okay. I think it's just the universe telling me that I needed to let go of my mom's death. But trust me, it's a big universe, and I'm going to have to see what it has in store for me. And Peter thinks in his head, took me 50 billion light years to figure that out, what I want to be when I grow up. I was an okay astronaut, at best, and I was kind of a ridiculous pirate. But together, I could be something better. I can be the legendary Star-Lord. And that's it, man. That concludes the entire first story arc, year 1 of Star-Lord. Tell me what you guys thought. Call 714-684-1652. Once again, that is 714-684-1652. I actually do enjoy this graphic novel. Sam Humphrey is one of my favorite writers. He has yet to let me down. Highly suggest anything that he writes. The art in it was amazing. It was extremely consistent, and that's what I loved most about it when it came to art. The story was great. Hearing Yondu and seeing him in a different light was pretty interesting. And it seems like this comic definitely took place before the actual movie of Guardians of the Galaxy. So, do I suggest it? Yes, go ahead and pick it up. I'm really glad that I got to sum it up for you guys. Of course, this is our month of Guardians of the Galaxy. So we're going to have the original Sin tie-in. It's a 3-part series of Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to have the Symbiote Planet be read to you guys as well. So we're going to have so much more of Guardians of the Galaxy for you guys and tell you if it's interesting, if it's not interesting, if we liked it, if we didn't like it. So, of course, if you guys have any suggestions for monthly themes, go ahead and call in 714-684-1652 or follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook under Comics After Dark. I'm your host, MTR, also known as Matt the Rat, and of course, keep on comic coming, you guys. Go! Later!